The Dupree is a cocktail that I have absolutely no idea where it came from, but I have super high hopes for it because it looks really good.
Where'd you find it?
Can't remember. Don't know.
Well, where'd you find it now?
It's in my notes.
Oh.
I wrote it down. It's an obscure cocktail, but I cannot find the source at the moment. I was like, oh, I didn't write down the source for this. Or maybe I was, you know, like when people sleepwalk, maybe I was sleep writing cocktails, and I was like, oh, I need obscure cocktails, and I was stressing out about it, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and I just wrote down this recipe, and I'm pretending. Because honestly, I have absolutely no idea where it came from. It's a ghost cocktail.
So your whole thing...
Can't find it on the internet. It's that obscure.
Right.
It's the most obscure. I have been looking through old books for a really long time though, so this could just be one that has not been revived yet.
Right.
And we're gonna revive it right now. This is history in the making, Marius.
Yeah, or it's not an obscure cocktail, it's just something you made up.
One or the other, we'll never know.
Okay.
Somebody on the internet's is gonna know where I got this cocktail. I definitely didn't make it up. I don't use Saint Germain that much, and there's Saint Germain in it. And I don't ever do absinthe rinses in my cocktails for whatever reason, and there's an absinthe rinse. So I don't think I made it up. I think someone's gonna know where it came from. Mm-hmm. There is a possibility that it's not a classic and that it's like some modern classic or comes from some bar or whatever, and I've just had a complete brain fart, but I don't think so.
Right.
I think this is such an obscure classic that nobody's revived it. But I don't know why, because Aperol and Saint Germain together seems like it's like a winning combination. So.
But Saint Germain is pretty new, so it can't
Since 2007.
Yeah, so it's not.
No. But I'm using Saint Germain, but the original could have just been Elderflower Cordial or Elderflower Liqueur. Elderflower Liqueur predates Saint Germain.
Right.
Saint Germain wasn't the first company to make Elderflower Liqueur. It was just the company to make Elderflower Liqueur.
Well, so
popular.
what does the recipe say? Elderflower liqueur?
No. Well, I wrote the recipe down, and it might have said Elderflower Liqueur, and I just wrote Saint Germain because that's the Elderflower Liqueur that we have on hand.
Right.
So,
but in your notes,
thickens.
But in your notes, what does it say specifically?
Just the recipe.
And what does the recipe say? Saint Germain or Elderflower?
I put Saint Germain. Yes, it says Saint Germain. I put Saint Germain. Okay. But if it were Saint Germain and it was a new cocktail that has been created in 2007,
yeah,
there would be evidence of it on the internet. Why is it not on the internet? The only thing that I can think of is that I got it out of a very obscure book, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, this seems like maybe like Savoy cocktail book or Boothby's cocktails or like one of the very old cocktail books. Right. And I just looked at it and I was like, oh, Saint Germain, or I was like Elderflower Liqueur and Aperol, that seems like it goes well together. And then I just put Saint Germain in the recipe in my notes because that's what we have.
Right. Okay.
So going forward, do you think I should just write what the recipe says so that it's not confusing?
I mean,
I usually write down a history.
Where are these notes? Is there a little black book?
Is it my phone?
On your phone?
I don't put them in a little black book anymore. I put it in my phone now. It's a lot easier to edit and it's always on me. So if I have an idea, I can just go to it. Yeah. You seem so suspicious, like I'm trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes, but we've done 1,000 videos and I've not pulled the wool over anyone's eyes yet.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where this cocktail came from unless there's a modern bartender that needs credit for it.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that irritates me about the internet is that no matter how many times I say this cocktail came from this bar and this person, then people are like, oh, a recipe from the Educated Barfly. But it's just a recipe that I made, but it's not a recipe that I created. I think that everybody should get the credit that they're due for the work that they do. So I'm not trying to take credit for this. I'm definitely saying that it wasn't me anyway, but I don't know where it came from.
All right, let's make it, see if it's...
Yeah, let's see if it holds up. I mean, maybe it doesn't hold up because I didn't, a lot of the times when I make these old cocktails, I like to do the original specs first before I tweak them.
Right.
So that I can taste what the hell is wrong with the thing, right? Doesn't that make sense? This is a very, very simple cocktail, dude. All right, we're just gonna do 1/2 ounce of Aperol. Oh, a little drop fell out. It's not actually 1/2 ounce anymore. And we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of Elderflower Liqueur, 2 ounces of gin. I'm going London Dry on this one. Give it the old cracky poo. Cracky poo another, because why the hell not? I'm gonna do this in a Nick and Nora, and we're gonna give it the old Absinthe Spritz. And by Spritz, I mean rinse. There we go. Like doing it out of one of these atomizers, because you get a nice, even coat, and it's not just like you don't have to, roll it around or anything.
The specs just sounds like a modern cocktail. It's like Saint Germain and Absinthe and everything.
I mean, but that's true for like 100 million trillion cocktails. I mean, every single cocktail came out of 6 recipes. They're all just a riff off the other one. And yeah, it does sound very much like a lot of other different cocktails, but a lot of those other cocktails that came later came probably from this one, which came from maybe another one before it, you know? To me, that's what's so fascinating about cocktails, though, is that you can have cocktails that are constructed out of roughly the same ingredients, but the way that you spec them out, right, their ratios, and then one tweak and you have a completely different tasting thing. I don't think that that's such a scandal that some people on the internet think it is. I think that's what is so freaking fascinating about cocktails. And the fact that, like, you know, the history of cocktails is the history of humankind, because almost every single important event that humans have done has been around drinking or while drinking, basically. Some of the most important decisions have gone around drinking. And strain it. And I guess the garnish is the absinthe, so let's give it a taste.
Smell that garnish from over here.
Hey. What's crazy is that the absinthe gives it like a completely different character, but like you can taste the gin right up front, and then you also taste the influence of the absinthe like right away. So you get the botanicals of the gin and you get the absinthe right up front. You start to swallow it, you feel the bitterness of the Aperol, which gives it a little brightness, but then you get the Saint Germain, which gives it like this crazy flavor profile that also makes it even brighter. And you can taste the elderflower almost separate from the other ingredients. It's pretty interesting. Not bad, very bright, like kind of light cocktail. I dig it, I think. Yeah, it's like, you get the gin botanicals, but then you get the Aperol and the influence of the absinthe like right away. And then you get the Saint Germain as a last little thing.
Well, why do you think it's obscure then?
I think that this drink is something that is not going to appeal to everybody. You got to really love bitter and boozy drinks. I think it still holds true that Saint Germain makes just about anything taste wonderful. And not only that, but also, even though I didn't say this in the notes, I guess I can say it now, that like when you swallow it, some of these ingredients, the lighter, more syrupy ingredients, kind of plays up the ethanol kind of flavor in the gin. It's like almost as if the ethanol flavor has been separated out from the botanicals, and the botanicals are playing with the Saint Germain. It's a really interesting cocktail, but I like it, but I don't think that it's something that a lot of people will like. I think that this is you kind of just have to really be into these particular flavors. It's not something it's not a banger. It's not like just crushable, anyone's gonna love it, you know?
It should stay obscure, no?
Or it can be respect and made into something else. I mean, I think that the absinthe, if I was going to do anything, I'd take the absinthe out, you know, because I think the absinthe is kind of like the redheaded stepchild. I really like the interplay between the Aperol and the Saint Germain, though. And I think the gin is good, but maybe I would go for a more like some gin that either plays up a different flavor, like cucumber would be really nice in here, or like a bright, more citrusy gin, something that has like a little bit less botanicals, you know? Maybe.
Is there no cocktail that has Aperol, Saint Germain, and gin already?
Oh, I'm sure. But for me, I think that gin, Aperol, and Saint Germain is probably going into like a daisy style cocktail that also has citrus, because I think citrus and like that citric bite would go a long way in this cocktail. But I don't know if there's anything that uses those ingredients specifically. I'm sure there is, but definitely in a different way and in different proportions. Interesting drink. I'd drink it again, but I wouldn't have 2 in a row, if that makes sense.